Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive into crypto. You know the drill. We've got a brand new market report here, dated January 10th, 2025. It's from Crypto Deep Dive, and it's packed with all sorts of interesting nuggets. So let's just jump right in.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, so the global crypto market cap is sitting at $3.26 trillion right now. It's kind of like the Dow Jones for the crypto world, I guess, right?
Yeah, you can think of it that way.
Gives us an idea of how things are moving overall. It's down a little bit over the past day, but, it's crypto.
Right. Never a dull moment.
Exactly. What's interesting is stablecoins are making up a big chunk of the trading volume. It seems like people are maybe looking for a little bit of stability amidst all the ups and downs.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, stablecoins are pegged to traditional currencies, so it kind of makes sense that they'd be a safe haven when things are a little bit rocky.
Yeah, that's a good point. So let's see what's happening with the big players. Bitcoin is currently at 93,432, down just a tad. And the Ethereum is at 3,345, with a slightly bigger dip.
Yeah, even the giants can stumble a little bit, right?
That's true. That's true. Now, for some news that caught my eye, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, they've put forward a proposal that would require crypto firms to reimburse users for funds lost due to hacks. It's a pretty bold move, don't you think?
I think it's a really interesting development. It could potentially bring a whole new level of trust to the crypto space, but there are definitely a lot of questions about how it would actually work.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, especially with decentralized platforms. How do you enforce something like that when there's no central authority?
Exactly. It's a big challenge for regulators.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. All right, on a more positive note, let's talk about Bitcoin ETFs in the U.S. It's been a year since they were first approved, and they've been performing really well.
Yeah, they've definitely exceeded expectations.
Some of these funds, like BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust and Fidelity's Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund, they've pulled in a ton of money.
Yeah, billions and billions of dollars in assets under management. It's a sign that institutional investors are really starting to take Bitcoin seriously.
No kidding, that's huge. Now, this next story is pretty wild. Apparently, AI-powered digital influencers are making bank these days.
Yeah, I saw that. It's pretty crazy.
There's this Web3 startup called O that's creating these AI influencers. And some of them are already earning over $10,000 a month.
It's blurring the lines between reality and the digital world in a way that we've never really seen before.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. But speaking of things that are a little bit mind-blowing, the Crypto Fear and Greed Index has dropped to levels we haven't seen since last October. That was back when Bitcoin was around $63,000. So it seems like there's a bit of uncertainty creeping back into the market.
Yeah, things are definitely looking a little shaky. But, sometimes those dips can create buying opportunities.
True, true. So let's see. Over in the Philippines, several banks are joining forces to launch a peso-backed stablecoin called PHPX. They're going to be using the Hedera network for this. The idea is to make it easier for Filipino overseas workers to send money back home.
Yeah, it's a great example of how blockchain technology can be used to improve financial inclusion.
It's a really interesting development. On the other hand, we've got India, where Bybit, a major crypto exchange, has had to suspend its services due to regulatory pressure. India has been cracking down on crypto with new tax laws and stricter compliance requirements for exchanges.
It's a reminder that regulatory hurdles are still a major challenge for the crypto industry.
Absolutely. Navigating those regulatory landscapes is crucial for long-term success.
All right, moving on to Arbitrum. Their DAO just unanimously approved a major upgrade called Boldy. It's all about enhancing network security.
Yeah, basically it lets anyone participate in securing the network. So it's kind of like taking out the middleman, the centralized validator.
So it makes the platform more decentralized and more secure.
Makes sense. And then we've got WazirX's, the Indian exchange. They got hit with that massive cyber attack last year. They've announced a restructuring plan backed by investors in Singapore.
Yeah, they're really trying to rebuild trust and boost their security.
Implementing things like enhanced security protocols, insurance-backed asset protection, and more transparency.
It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Absolutely. It's a crucial test case for the whole industry. Now, for another interesting development in the world of Bitcoin mining, CleanSpark has just joined the ranks of companies holding over 10,000 Bitcoin.
Wow, that's a lot of Bitcoin.
It is. It puts them in a pretty exclusive company. It's fascinating to see these big players accumulating so much Bitcoin, even with all the uncertainty in market.
Yeah, it's a sign of confidence in the long-term value of the cryptocurrency.
Speaking of confidence, there's been a lot of buzz about Jack Dorsey's company.
Yeah, what about it?
Well, there's speculation that they could become the first S&P 500 company to adopt a Bitcoin accumulation strategy.
Wow, that would be a game changer.
Right. We've seen companies like Tesla and MicroStrategy hold Bitcoin. But if an S&P 500 company officially adopts a Bitcoin accumulation strategy,
It could really open the floodgates for other corporations to do the
it
same.
would be a huge sign of mainstream acceptance.
Definitely something to keep an eye on.
Sure. So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've got regulatory shifts, AI influencers making bank a Bitcoin mining race that's heating up. And it seems like the crypto world is as unpredictable and exciting as ever.
It's never a dull moment, that's for sure.
We've talked about a lot of exciting developments, but what about the potential downsides of all this? What are some of the risks that people should be aware of?
Well, security is always a big concern. We've seen some high-profile hacks and scams in the crypto space, so it's crucial to do your research and be careful.
What are some steps people can take to protect themselves?
Due diligence is key. Research any project or platform thoroughly before you invest or share any personal information. Look for strong security measures, a reputable team transparency in their operations.
Good advice.
Regulatory uncertainty is another risk. Governments are still figuring out how to regulate crypto, and that can create uncertainty for businesses and investors.
Yeah, it's still a bit of a wild west out there.
In some ways, yes. And then there's the issue of volatility. Crypto prices can swing wildly, so investors need to be prepared for that.
It's definitely not for the faint of heart.
Right. But it's important to remember that high risk can come with high reward.
That's true. So we've talked about a lot of different things today. Market trends, new developments. What are some of the key takeaways you hope our listeners will walk away with?
Well, I think the most important thing is to really emphasize that knowledge is power in the crypto world. It's so crucial to do your own research, stay informed, and be critical of the information you come across.
Absolutely. There's so much hype and misinformation out there. You really got to be careful.
Yeah, don't just believe everything you read. And always remember, security is paramount. Whether you're investing in cryptocurrencies, exploring the metaverse, or dabbling in DeFi, you need to protect your digital assets just as carefully as you would your physical belongings.
That's such a good point. It's easy to forget sometimes that these digital things have real value.
Yeah, and the technology is still evolving, so it's important to stay vigilant.
What else should our listeners keep in mind as they navigate this crazy world?
Well, I think it's important to remember that the crypto world is still relatively young. There are going to be successes and failures along the way. Don't be afraid to learn from your mistakes and adapt to the changing landscape.
It's a journey, right?
It is.
And it's one that requires patience and resilience.
Exactly. And I'd also encourage our listeners to think about their own role in all of this. Are you an investor, a builder, an advocate, or just a curious observer? There are so many ways to participate in the crypto world, and it's a space that needs diverse perspectives and talents.
That's a great question to leave everyone with. What role do you see yourself playing in the future of crypto? It's a future that's being written right now, and we all have a part in shaping it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, it's been a blast diving into all of this with you, as always.
Likewise, always a pleasure.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of cryptocurrency. We'll be back soon with more insights and analysis. Until then, stay curious, keep exploring, and as always, invest responsibly.